it do? What it do? What is up with you? Welcome to my book haul. I am recording this for the third time today. I made it halfway through my fantasy and historical fiction and found out that my microphone wasn't working. So we're gonna do this again. We're gonna do it again. So here we go. Let's start off with Terry Pratchett. So this is book 1, The Color of Magic by Terry Pratchett, and book 4, Mort by Terry Pratchett. They're part of the Discworld series. The Discworld series is based on a disc, basically a Discworld, on the back of a turtle. And Color of Magic is all about the Discworld getting its first tourist. And it says, upon whose survival rests the peace and prosperity of the land. Unfortunately, the person in charge of maintaining that survival in the face of robbers, mercenaries, and, well, death is a particularly inept wizard. And I hope that wizard is Gilcuddy or Wincuddy, who I fell in love with in the Hogfather book that I read some Christmases ago. Also, Mort, which is book 4 in the Discworld series. And this is all about Mort, who becomes Death's apprentice. So Death from this book, who is kind of a side character in this, becomes a main character. That's why I picked it up, because Death is in this one. It's the first, and I think Hogfather is another one that is mostly about death, or about death becoming Santa Claus. And I picked this one up. It sounds hilarious because the back says, after being assured that being dead was not compulsory because he was offered a job by Death, Mort accepts. However, he soon finds that romantic longings did not mix easily with the responsibility of being Death's apprentice. So these are the 2 books that I hauled. I'm hoping to read Color of Magic, see how I feel about that, and read Mort, which I'm hoping to love because it's the first book with Death in it as a character, and I love the Death character and his granddaughter. So and then I'm gonna continue collecting the rest of the Discworld series. I do have a video game somewhere that I can no longer play. That is the Discworld video game. So I had the Discworld video game. I can't play it anymore because my systems are too advanced to play that. So I'm gonna collect the books and hopefully enjoy it. Next up are these 2. This is Transformation and Revelation by Carol Berg. This is book 1 of the Raikura series. They are just 2 books in the series, I think. I really need to look that up. Hang on. Okay, so apparently there is more in the series. There are 4 books. 1 is a prequel. No, actually I don't think that's part of the series. Okay, so I have Transformation, Revelation, but I don't have Restoration, which is the 3rd book in that series. This is about Sharon, who is a slave for Prince Alexander, and he finds out that something's going on in the castle, and he has to choose whether or not he's gonna get involved, because he's been enslaved by these people for like 6 years. His whole plan, like his whole people have been destroyed, his land's been destroyed, and he hears something in the halls. So it says, a deadly menace stalks the corridors of the prince's palace. Only Sharon seems aware of this danger, but can he ignore his years of subservience and put aside his hatred of the selfish Prince Alexander and raise his voice in warning. If he does, he will risk his life, but it may save his soul. So, dope? Are they dope? I don't know, but they're fantasy, and I'm looking forward to reading them and looking for restoration. I'm loving these covers though, especially this one. It's giving PS1 graphics. This one is a little bit better. It's a lot more traditional fantasy, but this one given some Sierra Online vibes, and I love it. Okay, this next one is a little bit complicated. I have 3 books that are technically part of the same series, but they're different parts of the series. All of these books by Stephen Diaz are technically a part of the Memory of Flames series. This one's loosely kinda in the same universe, but not really. These two are definitely in the same universe. This one is a standalone that comes after the original trilogy. The Amantine Palace, the King of Krogs, and I think the last one's called the Order of Scales. Then it's this one, which is the Black Mausoleum. And then it goes into the second trilogy, which starts with the Dragon Queen, and goes on to Splintered Gods, and finally the Silver Kings. Are we getting that? Getting that? So this is the standalone after the first 3, and these books are set in a world where dragons exist, and there was a huge battle between dragons and humans, and it's giving Reign of Fire. It's giving Christian Bale Reign of Fire, these. I don't really want to give away a lot, because I can't give away a lot, because they're literally parts of an original series. So after the original series is this, and then after this is the second series. So technically this is book 4, this is book 5, and then it goes on to, I think there's like 7 books in total in the original series. And this is, if I can remember, the Thief Taker's Apprentice, then the Warlock's Shadow, and then the King's Assassin. This is the 3rd book in that series, as well as the Thief Taker's Blade. Am I missing something? I'm like looking it up at the same time. The Thief Taker's Blade. No, that's it. And that is a series of 4 books. This is young adult. 4 books. And this is a series in which a boy named Baron, who is a thief, sees the Thief Taker stealing from like 3 dead thieves that are executed, and Baron decides he's gonna go and, pull off a little heist, but he fails. He fails miserably, and the Thief Taker is so taken by him that he decides to take him on as an apprentice. That's the Thief Taker's Apprentice. This series, all I know about it is that it's set in a world where dragons and humans are fighting, and sometimes dragons are the good guys, sometimes dragons are the bad guys. It's a lot, and I've only collected 2 of the books in the series. This one apparently is like a standalone that's set in the same universe. This one says, our world ended in flames, flames that came on the wings of hundreds of dragons. Our kingdoms fell, cities burned, peasants, kings and queens all reduced to ash. The few that survive scramble for safety in caves and forests, but 3 people have stopped running. An alchemist, she was made to wield power through blood and magic over man and dragon alike. An Amantine man, born to fight dragons, bred to die fighting dragons. A thief, a madman possessed by something more terrifying than even a dragon, a madman's secret. There are only hope. So there are references to the first trilogy, this trilogy, and this as well. It's loosely based in the same universe. All of his books seem to be loosely based in the same universe. So, dope. Next is the sequel to The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch, Red Seas on the Red Skies. I did look it up. He is still writing. He's supposed to have released like a short story collection that is set in the Gentleman Bastard series. So for those of you who don't know, the Gentleman Bastard series starts with The Lies of Locke Lamora, which I own, and this is the sequel. It follows like a roguish thief called Locke and a band of like pirates, and it's a whole thing. Just hit the mic. A whole thing. Apparently it's really good. I haven't read it yet. This is the second book in the series. It's got pirates and stuff in it. I picked this up at a charity shop. It was pretty, it's like £1 for this. I enjoy the edition that I got for super cheap. Super cheap. When I say I like sci-fi fantasy, I'm talking about that old school shit. I'm talking about the type of stuff that is like, it's set in a fantasy setting, but all of a sudden there's like spaceships in it. This is one of them. This is Magician by Raymond F. Feist. He's like old school. This is medieval fantasy, magic-y stuff, but give it aliens. And this book is about a guy named Pip, who is a magician's apprentice, a really powerful magician's apprentice, and his life is good. He's performing miracles, and then out of nowhere, aliens invade, and Pip needs to suddenly, with his friend Thomas, find a way to defeat these aliens. And I'm sold. This was written back in 1983. It says on the cover that it's a new revised edition. And on the back, it says by Raymond himself that there are 15,000 words of text omitted from the previous editions. So this is the definitive edition, and it essentially is the book I would have written had I the skill I possess today. Give me some fantasy with some alien shit in it. This is it. I'm ready for the craziness. I'm ready for the mentalness that magic and aliens could give me, especially back in the 80s. I'm looking forward. Next is Dunkton Rising. This is the second book. I have a lot of out of order books I've hauled. The second book in the Book of Silence series, the first book being Dunstan Tales. This is by William Harwood. This is about Privit, who is a female scholar and scribe, and she, in the first book, she is looking for like the infamous artifact that is the Book of Silence, and she's on a pilgrimage to find the Book of Silence. That's not why I picked this book up. I picked this book up because, mind you, this was written in 1993. The back of the book says, if you can see it, it says, more readable and rewarding than Lord of the Rings, The Times. Mind you, this book was written in 1993, and I bet you 2 cents you had no idea this book was really existed. But you know what Lord of the Rings is? So, why is Lord of the Rings catching strays? Could you not have your book and not be putting your mouth on other books? Why? Why? And that's the only blurred like thing we get. There's no other one. It's the only one. Some of the other books that I hauled have 2 or 3 other quotes from people and organizations, but this is the only one, and it's bad-mouthing Lord of the Rings. I want to know why. So, Mr. Times, let's see what you've got. Last but not least, from my fantasy haul, this is book 13. I have the rest of the series. I'm just not bringing them out because I'm not going to bring out all, 11 books in the Morganville Vampire series by Rachel Kane. I read the first one, Glass Houses, and I liked it for what it was. And so I saw the full series. I think I'm missing 2 books. But the full series in like a charity shop for like £9, and I picked them up. I'm missing 2 books. I think I'm missing 2 and 8. I'm not sure, but I'm missing 2 books out of this series, and I can always buy them. It's fine. And then my collection's complete. This book is a vampire series that was originally written before Twilight was a thing, and it has certainly the Twilight vibe, but not Twilight. It was doing the Twilight thing before Twilight was a thing, and it's all about a girl named Claire who's 16, and she gets into university really early, but in that university she's getting bullied a lot to the point where they throw acid on her. And so she decides, mind you, these people are adults and she's a child, but we're not going into that. She decides she's gonna move out of her dorm because she's being bullied mercilessly. It's practically torture at that point. And she finds a house called the Glass House, and she moves in with 3 other people. One being Shane, I forgot the girl's name, but the other is Michael. And she discovers that all of Morganville, she goes to Morganville University in like Morganville. All of Morganville is controlled by vampires, and once you're in Morganville, you can never leave. Like they have full control of this town. And she finds out that, well, they want her for some reason. She is some kind of special somehow. It's not good. That's not a good. That's not a good description. I was enjoying the book while I was reading it, but it's not a good description. They were really mean to this 16-year-old girl, and it's a little bit weird when 19-year-old Shane is interested in 16-year-old Claire in a romantic way. Like, it was giving ick while I was reading it. But I read it for Vampire Book Club, and I was enjoying the story where it was going, and apparently it gets really, really good afterwards. I'm not doing the book justice. I promise you, it was it was good. I promise you it was good. I was really enjoying it. That sounded really bad. It was a good book. I enjoyed it. So I picked up the rest. I'm missing 2. Let's stop. I'm gonna stop. This is my historical fiction haul. Let's start at the top, shall we? Let's start during the war. This is Fear Stood the Wind for France by H.E. Bates. This is a romantic historical fiction all about a soldier that crashes in occupied France during the height of World War II, and he finds himself being taken care of by a miller and his family, and he falls in love with the daughter of the house, and it's heartfelt, heartbeat. It says perhaps it says on the back, perhaps the finest novel of war, the finest and lovely book which makes a heartfelt pride, filled heartbeat with pride. Again, free library, all this from the free library. So when I want to cry, I'll get that. Another war book, The Secret of Malta by Cicely Bletch. This is all about a singer in Malta from a nightclub, finds herself entangled with a dangerous spy called Nero. This is another World War II novel, so another historical fiction. And I, again, hauled this from a free library. I'm feeling the historical fiction. I saw this and I was like, I need to check this out. The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. American life, old literature, historical fiction. Everyone I know and their uncles love Steinbeck, and this is one of his well-known books. This is all about, it's set in the backdrop of the Dust Bowl, Oklahoma, Californian migrant life, and it follows the Jed family who are traveling west in search of the promised land. And their story is one of false hopes, thwarted desires, and broken dreams. So when people like talk about the the American dream, when they want to show America at its lowest, they always pick up the John Steinbeck. And so did I. Another historical fiction, Trial of Lotta Ray by Siobhan McGowan. This book looks very pretty. Another one that I hold from the free library. But this one is set in 1806, and it's all about this girl who is assaulted by a man who is put on trial for it, and he totally gets away with it. And then she meets him under the 12 years later, as the suffragette rise and the ghost of World War One looms large over London, William is joined again by Lotta Ray, and now they will travel to a faithful destination where truths must be faced and wrongs must be righted. So, dope. Yep. When I want to cry, I guess this is one that I'll pick up. Next up is Mrs. Whistler by Matthew Plumpkin. I don't know if you can see this book. I got this again in a free library. It looks fantastic, doesn't it? Look at that. What a book. It's very nice. And this, Mrs. Whistler, it doesn't say Mrs. Whistler's mother, but I'm pretty sure it is about that painting. And it says, Maud could tell the whole story, but she will not. 1876, on the wet, cobbled streets of Chelsea, London, harassed artist Jimmy Whistler argues with his client. The argument that Mr. Whistler's two peacocks are now adorn Mr. Leyland's dining room are to one man a disgrace and to another a masterpiece. Stuck in the middle is one person who knows the artist, his creative vision and soul more than any other, his model, his lover, Miss Maud Finken. We follow Maud, a young artist herself, who must play the part of wife in the life of a painter crippled by rumors and debt. But its only part, no muse ever had the rights of a wife. A beautiful, compelling, blending naivete and strength, Maud is an irresistible character spinning through the world of beauty, sacrifice, art, and ambition. And that is what I think I need to actually read the book to find out what is actually going on. But when I saw Mrs. Whistler, I instantly thought, well, I didn't instantly thought Whistler's mother. The ghost instantly thought Whistler's mother. So, especially with the model muse mother tagline on the front. So, what a gorgeous book. What a gorgeous book. I may have only picked this up because the book looks so pretty. Next is The Seeker by S.G. McLean. This is a historical crime fiction novel, and it's set in 1654 London and follows Lord Protectorate's most feared agent, Damien Seeker, who no one knows where Seeker comes from or even his real name, but the only thing is certain, nothing remains hidden from him for very long. When a popular captain and hero of Cromwell's all-powerful army is murdered, and Cecil Ellingworth, an outspoken critic of Cromwell's regime, is found standing over the bleeding body clutching a knife, his guilt seems without question. Yet, Seeker is not convinced. He will stop at nothing to unmask the true killer and save Ellingworth from the gallows, and Seeker knows better than anyone where to start. Sounds dope. Really like it. I'm looking forward to this. I like old English narratives from like around, would it be, no, Henry would be the 1500s. So this is just after Henry. Actually, this is during Oliver Cromwell's reign, so there wasn't a actual king running the country. There was a tyrant running the country, but like it. I can't wait. I want to see. I can't wait. Also, I think this is part of a series. I think there is also, if I have a look, book 1 in the Damien Seeker series. There are 6 books now, of now, so this is book 1. And yeah, so new obsession, I'll read and see if it is a new obsession. I wouldn't mind getting into some 17th century London crime intrigue. Looking forward to that. So I got really obsessed with Rome for a while. I didn't read, like I think I hold another Roman book, but I did not read said Roman book. And then I found this, another one from my local free library. I'm just stealing people's books at this point. But this is Emperor, The Death of Kings by Con Ingledon. I have 2 more of his books. I also hold this. This is another Con Ingledon book called The Falcon of Sparta, which is set in Cyprus and all about the Spartans, which is another historical book. But this one is about Julius Caesar and his reign, and starts when he's like super young and he returns to Rome. He goes to Africa, does all his stuff in Africa, and then returns a hero, and then has to battle Spartacus. And this is about the Spartans, Falcon of Sparta. So I got really into some old books, right? So all because I read Commodious by Simon Turnley. That's fine. And finally, The Count of Monte Cristo. I've actually started reading this. I'm like 200 pages into this 1,400 page behemoth about revenge, and the best kind of revenge, the revenge that lasts 14 years. So this is all about, this is by Alexander Dumas, and this is all about Dante, who at 19 has his life together. And then there's 2 people, 1 coward, who doesn't like the fact that he has his life together. One is a guy who wants his job on a ship. 2 is a guy that wants his girlfriend and is her cousin. So they set him up. They set him up as a traitor, and he's arrested and sent to jail. And then the person who said that they would try to get him out of jail, turns out he actually is corrupt. And so he leaves little Dante in jail. And in jail, he meets this old guy who he meets the Abbey? I think his name's the Abbey. Is he the Abbey? What's his name? I learned Italian. He meets this guy, and the guy is like, dude, you got played. You got played really, really badly. But you know what? I'm good. I'm about to die anyway. I don't care. I've been in here forever. I'm gonna give you the location of a treasure, and then I'm gonna help you get out of here. And then when you do get out of here, you will find this treasure and you'll have a lot of money. And then you're gonna get your revenge. And that is the rest of the book. That's the revenge. This is the setup. This is the revenge. Look how long that revenge is. And I cannot wait. I can't wait. I was enjoying it so far. I was enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie, this book is pretty dope. The book's pretty dope. Especially when the guy who wanted his job, Dante goes to jail, the guy wanted his job, got his job, and then realized, I don't actually want this job. I think I'm gonna go to Portugal. Wow. Put the man in jail, left the man in jail, got the job he wanted, which he had. He wasn't even offered it yet. You just put him in jail because you thought he was gonna get it. And then when you got the job, you were like, nah, I'm gonna go Portugal. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm slowly reading it. And I cannot wait. There's like 4 people who need the acid was whooping this book. And this is all the ass whooping. Also, dope dragon. Look at that. Look at that beautiful dragon. Isn't he special? Arg, arg. Fluffy, fluffy. I'm looking forward. Fluffy, 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 fluffy.